Hi, I'm Dr. Dan McIsaac. I'm an anesthesiologist and scientist at the University of Ottawa and the Ottawa Hospital. I think peer review helps obviously in a lot of ways. When you're submitting to a journal like Anesthesiology, obviously you've got to have a good product that you're submitting. And at that point you should have had a strong protocol and a strong set of data that are underlying what you're submitting. And what I found, certainly with the last couple that we've submitted, is that the peer review process kind of really helps to the thinking about what you found. It gives different perspectives from other experts to try and better help you interpret and craft the message that should logically come out of the data that you're presenting. And it also helps, I think, just to think through the process of how that message should be delivered to anesthesiologists and other people reading the journal so that it actually is consistent with what you have. It's not that there are major departures from the discussion, for example, that's initially submitted, but it definitely helps to get other experts' perspectives on it and helps you to put together a well thought out presentation of the data and the findings that you have that I think aren't overstepping or understepping the importance of what you've got to present. I think when selecting a journal to publish, there's kind of two main things. The big one is the audience. You need to be submitting your work to a place where the people who read that journal are going to care about it and potentially act on the findings that you've generated. And then the second one I'd say is the reputation. As a scientist, where you publish reflects the work that you do. So if you're able to publish in a top specialty journal like Anesthesiology, it both is a mark for the work that you've done, that it's high quality, that it should be impactful, but it also is a mark for, I think, the overall body of work that you do to show that you're someone who is publishing in places where good science is published. And then it's going to get read by people who might act on those findings or use it to advance science further. I think journals have a big role to play in positively guiding and influencing the specialty. And I think there's a couple of important roles that they should be playing. One of them is kind of setting the standards. And I mean, anesthesiology has done a nice job of that in the last couple of years in terms of requiring, for example, protocol pre-registration, reporting guideline utilization, and that kind of thing. So when you set the standard of how the science needs to be done to get published in a journal like that, then it is going to get reflected back in the science that gets done, and it's going to be done at a higher level. I think the other thing is how the findings, what the message is that comes out of it. We hear a lot in the media, I think now, understandably, about research findings kind of getting overhyped. And that's really important, and I think journals have an important role to play in that the message gets out to the right audience, but it gets out in a way that actually reflects the data and the findings that underlie that. So from a journal's perspective, I think making sure that information is contextualized in a way that, again, reflects reality and is easy for readers and knowledge users to kind of absorb. That's another really important role that journals play in helping us to advance the specialty, because it's got to be built on a solid foundation, and the science is a big part of that. My biggest advice for somebody early in their career who's looking to publish in a place like anesthesiology in particular, is you got to put the work in on the front end. You've got to put the work in on building a strong protocol. You've got to collaborate with people who have expertise if you don't happen to have that expertise. And if you put the work in on the front end and you build a strong protocol and you make sure that the study that you're going to do moving forward has that really strong foundation, number one, over half the work's done when you go to write that final paper because of all the work you've done putting a protocol in place and either publishing it or registering it in a protocol depository. But number two, you know that when that manuscript gets delivered to the journal, it's going to be more positively received because you've set out ahead of time what you're going to do, what your protocol is going to be, what your primary outcomes and secondary outcomes are going to be. And then the manuscript that you present reflects that. And the people who are reviewing it can have confidence that this is solid science. This is real information that's being provided. So as a new investigator, especially in the era right now where often people have access to a lot of data, it can get pretty exciting to get out there and get that data and start analyzing it. Put the time in up front, build a solid protocol, build a team of experts around you who can make sure that protocol is as good as it's going to be, and everything flowing forward from that is going to be of higher quality, higher impact, and better received.